Hello to our angel talk on behalf of the angels with my dear friend Eluv from Australia. Originally, she lives now in Florida, and I'm Ingrid from Austria, from Europe, living now in Spain. And we would like to talk a little bit about our experiences and ideas and impressions of angels. So I would like to start with a question to you. Uh, in what way can angels make themselves known to people or make contact with them?
In many, 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 many ways. So as we're all different and we perceive information differently, the angels understand that and they will give us signs in different ways. So one of the very common ways would be through numbers. And the numbers can be on your clock. It could be 1111, 1212, 808, 909. So it's usually double numbers, master numbers. And they can also show up on your watch, or they might show up on your phone. They might show up on a number plate on a car. You might see 1111 on a car or similar double numbers. That's a very common way because the angels know that we always are looking at the clock, looking at time. So it's an easy reference for them. Another way could be in nature where you're looking up at the clouds and you might see a figure, even an angel, or you might see a heart shape in the clouds, or you might see a face that you might resemble to somebody that you know. It could be an animal. It could be some kind of sign, but it's in the clouds, in the shape of the clouds. Also rainbows, especially when the rainbow is coming and it's not raining. So that's a really significant, and then double rainbows. Like a few months ago, I saw a double rainbow and there was no rain anywhere.
Yeah.
So when that happens, I pay special attention.
Yeah.
And then I understand the messages that are coming through. Another way could be through audio. Sometimes the audio equipment or the electrical equipment goes a little crazy. That's a very common way that they will connect with us through the interference, because when the angels are around, they actually change the structure vibrationally in the air. They change the molecular structure. So things like that are easily happening. Sometimes a flicker in the light, or you may see lights or a flash of light come by you or to the side of you. That's very, very common. Speaking of lights, another way could be when you're taking photographs and you see the orbs, the kind of roundish shapes, cloudy looking, luminous shapes. Those are very common ways that the angels will present themselves in our photography. Another way could be when you're listening to the radio and you hear a particular song that is connected to someone who's crossed over, for example. Say it was your mother's favorite song and you recognize that, and in that moment you're thinking about your mother, and perhaps your mother is visiting you energetically, angelically speaking.
Yeah.
Another way would be through feathers. Sometimes we'll have feathers falling from the sky right in front of us, or we might go on a walk and then we find a feather. So that's a very significant way and common way that they'll show their presence. Sometimes we can hear our name and somebody is calling our name, but we don't know that person. So we might be in a park and you hear your name being called, or alternatively, you hear your name being called, but there's no one there. So that's another interesting phenomenon. Sometimes when you feel like you're being watched can be another way. and you just have that sense that something is watching you, somebody is watching you. You feel like you're not alone. Let's see, another way could be through smells. So you might smell sweet fragrance, or you might smell the smell of cigarettes, but there's no one smoking around you, or flowers, or the perfume of somebody who's crossed over. So if you've passed away, you know their perfume, that's their scent. And that's another way that they can present themselves, through smell. So we can see by this that they're presenting themselves through all of our senses. And because people recognize and have different senses more predominant for them, more heightened for them, then we can see that the relationship between someone who's a visual person may see visual senses more by feeling, may have that feeling of not being alone. Someone who has the senses of auditory perception may hear things and start to hear and recognize, or maybe they do it through, I have chimes in my house, and they're chimes that you would normally have outside, so that when the wind blows, the chimes ring. And when I'm in the room, I have them inside the house, so there's no wind, and sometimes the chimes will ring by themselves.
Wow.
I know that the angels are there, and it's not all the time. Be many days in a row. It can be very strong. It can be sometimes very gentle, sometimes not at all. It's inconsistent. And I know that there's no one pushing that to make the sound. So it's very, very interesting. Another way could be in your dreams, where you have dreams where you recognize that there's been angelic presence. So these are some of the ways. There's many, many, many ways.
Yeah. I like your examples, especially the one with the feathers, because I remember many years ago, after I got divorced, I was on New Year's Eve in a restaurant with a girlfriend. She tried to help me to get over this hard time. And we sat in the restaurant and everything was closed. In Austria, of course, it's winter, yeah? And suddenly there came a feather and it was here in my hair, and she said, "Oh, you have a white feather," and we didn't realize where it came from. And in this moment, I get goosebumps right now. I could feel the presence of my angels so strong, and I could feel that they hugged me and they said, "Everything will be okay, you can trust us, we are with you." And this was one of your experiences you shared, which I really like to remember. And another one about the smell of flowers. I had some seminar and the seminar room was closed, and I have forgotten to buy a bunch of flower. Normally I always have a bunch of flower in my angel seminars, but this time it was too late for me. And we made a meditation, and after the meditation a lady had closed her eyes and said, can you smell, I can smell lilies. And I said, no, sorry, I have no lilies today. She said, can you smell? And in this moment I realized that she could smell the angels, yeah, because angels can show up in any way, as you mentioned. And I think also that now many angels here, because we're always frozen in our picture, in our data line. Of course, between you and me there are thousands of miles through the Atlantic. Maybe this is angel, maybe this is technique, but I liked what you told us, because it's about their frequencies, and angel can show up in any shape or form. They can also take the form of a person, of a person that has passed, of a person that is still alive, or of a person that's never existed. I remember I had a contact to a lady. She was in the hospital and she had a surgery, and she lay in her bed, and then the door opened and a young priest came. He was very handsome, and he sat to her bed and he talked and said, yeah, everything will be okay, and how are you, how do you feel? And she was so happy because she was an older lady and the young priest, she was really excited. And then he left, and after half an hour there came the nurse, and she said, oh, there was such a nice priest in my room, and what's his name, because I would like to go to the service. And she said, I'm sorry, we have no priest in the hospital. And then she said, are you sure? And the nurse said, no, there is no priest in our hospital. And then she realized that this was an angel. And when she thought of him, she got the energy like angel's energy. And she was not quite sure if there are angels or not, but with this experience, she was totally clear and totally sure, and she could believe and she could recover very quickly, because she always talked with the angels, and she connected with the young priest in her thoughts, in her mind, and also energetically. And this was a very intensive experience for her. So, as I mentioned, we can realize them with our senses, but we also can see them, we can hear them. It's important to open up. And this is my next question to you. What do you think? Why do people have sometimes problems to open up for angels? Why do they have problems to connect with them or to get in touch with them?
That's an interesting question, because everyone's different. One of the common things is their belief system and how they've grown up and whether they actually believe in angels. And another thing could be their energetic density. Like certain people are very toxic or dense energetically, and they're not open. So to be able to perceive angelic presence, there's something about being open. Us being open is a requirement. It's not a necessity, but to begin to really connect with them and really understand the messages, we've got to be open to that. So some people come from backgrounds where, whether it's religious or just in their family constitution, they grew up not believing in anything that wasn't seen, that they couldn't see, as being humanly referenced.
Yeah. And
the other thing, when you were talking about you were speaking about how do we know that they're there? One more way that I thought of was when we have angelic intervention. So we might be in a situation that would be dangerous, or something's going to happen to us, and then the angels come in and intervene, and it doesn't happen. So we end up getting through that situation safely. That's another way that we can know their presence.
Yeah, I realized that many people have problems to get in touch because they have a certain expectation. They think that the angel should look like this, or talk like this, or feel like this. And if there is no angel seen by them or heard by them, they think there is no angel at all. But most of us can get in touch with the angels by our heart, by our feelings, but we have to open up, we have to be ready. And as you mentioned, if a person has a very dense energy or a toxic energy, it's harder for them to open up and to get in touch. Or if they are very intellectual focused, if they're only believe what they can control or what they can see, or what other or what science can prove. So you will wait a long time since science can prove the presence of an angel, because the angel energy, the angel vibration is such on a high level. We have no machines that this could check it or prove it or find it out. So it's similar to the story when you know some people are looking for the soul, and the doctors are opening up the body, yeah, and so there is no soul. I couldn't find any soul. I have done so many surgeries, but there is no soul. Of course, it's on a different level. So it's about our experience. It's about our experience, and the easiest way for me personally is to talk to them like I am talking to friends. I say, hello, angels, how are you? Or, angels, please sit beside me. Let's go to the table, to the sofa. I have a question. And could you please give me a sign? Could you give me a shower, goosebumps, or something like this? Or can you give me an idea, an impulse, or something like this? This is concrete, I know, but I ask the question and then I try to get empty in my mind, and then I wait what's coming up. But sometimes, as you mentioned, it comes in dreams, or the answer comes by another person, by a book, by a TV show, by a film, by music, or a message from a person you never have seen before. So I think it's really important just to open up, to be ready, and to talk to the angels. I always talk to them. I don't expect that they answer like a person would answer, but I feel the answer. It's a written answer, it's a answer that comes up in my mind or in my heart. So don't hesitate to talk to your angels. You're not getting crazy if you talk to them. Talk, 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 but without expectation. It's a surprise how and when they will answer, but you will get the answer. Sometimes it takes a little time, because maybe you get the answer a few weeks later, but you will get the answer. I always got the answer. And not every answer is the answer you expected. We also have to be open for not so convenient answers, because angels are honest. If you ask them, they give us the answer. So we should be ready also for the answer. And this is also one of the reasons why some people cannot hear or get in touch with the angel, because they don't hear the answer, because they say, no, 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 this is not the answer. I want to have the answer of my angel, and the answer should be this and that. So you have to be open and you have to be honest to yourself when you expect the connection and the answer of your angel or angels. So children, it's more easy for children. I think you also have experienced this, Eluv. What would you like to tell us about your thoughts, your ideas, your experience, why it is easier for children to connect or to communicate with angels?
Wow. Yes. Well, when a child is born, they're in their unfiltered, pure connection with spirit. So over time, over several years, up to like 7 or 8 years old, children have this unfiltered, very pure connection. And the transition of being born and then growing up, during that transition, then comes in all these awarenesses to the child of different illusions of the world that they're in, judgments from others, judgments coming from their families that they learn, perceptions about themselves that they start to reference from other people's behavior. So when they're very young, they have this beautiful pureness to them that is unfiltered and unbiased. and it's not conditional on whether something is supposedly real or not. So for them, they observe angels very easily because there's no interference, there's no energetic interference, there's no emotional interference, there's no intellectual interference. They're coming from their heart all the time.
Mm.
And it's the same with animals. Animals are that way, where they're unconditional love. So you might see a child looking into the distance, and maybe they're not looking at you, but they're actually looking at their angel. Or maybe they're talking to their imaginary friend. We think it's imaginary, but it's their real angelic friends.
Yes, I remember when I was a girl, I always talked with my friends, my invisible friends, and my parents said, "Oh, she has a lot of fantasy," but they didn't realize that these are really angels or angelic beings. My parents were very religious people, but they didn't realize that angels are real. I think they had the idea that the angels are, for example, in the church for decoration or for Christmas, or maybe Archangel Gabriel with a message to Mary that she is pregnant. But I think that many of the children, of the so-called children of the New Age, they come, they have a very high vibration. Their soul has a very high vibration, and many of them are here for free because they have learned everything they could get out of the karmic wheel, but they come because of love. They want to guide us. They want to be with us in this big change, in this big process of transformation worldwide. So they come and support us, and many of them are not very convenient. You call them the ADHD and all this stuff, and then you treat them with pills and medicine. But these are the children, they come with wisdom, with knowledge, with a very high vibrating energy. Many of them are highly sensitive. And for them, it's easy to reconnect because it's normal to see an angel. It's normal also to see aura or chakras or people that have already passed. So they think, what about these adults? What's wrong with them? They don't see, they don't hear, they don't understand. And sometimes they talk, when they are little, they talk about the angels very naturally. And if people say, oh, there is no angel, they will stop talking about the angels. And therefore it's very important to take them seriously, to encourage them to talk more about the angels, because we can learn a lot from these children, from the children of the New Age. They are here, they are our teachers, even if it doesn't look like this, because we adults think we know everything. But we can learn a lot when we are open, really. And therefore for them it's easily to connect and to see and to hear and to understand. And sometimes these children are also translators between the adults and the angels. So
Yeah.
a lot of experience we have done through the last years, and people really should listen if a child talks about angels. But I think you have animals. What about animals and angels? What's your experience?
My experience has been very interesting to watch. I have a bunny rabbit, and she's always connecting with angels. Kinds of moments. And how do I know this? Because I can sense it. I can see that she's doing a different position than she would normally do, and her body is in a different position and her eyes are in a different place.
Mm-hmm.
So she'll be doing similar to the child, where children may be staring at something and then you know that they're connecting with their angels. She's getting wisdom and guidance, and she's in a interesting situation where she's actually being guided by a couple of other animals that have crossed over, that are giving her teachings.
Wow.
So animals, once again, they're so open, and they're an example of this unconditional love. And being in the frequency of love, they're easily connected to their angelic friends. And it could be fairies, it could be elves, it could be gnomes, all of the earth elementals. They're always connected. So it's actually really important for us to honor that, and also observe that, and maybe take moments where we can connect while they're connecting.
Are you still here? We have a poor line at the moment. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
yeah. Would you like to continue, or?
Where did it cut off?
I don't know. I don't know when you were frozen. So I have to apologize for this poor connection. I hope our audience doesn't mind. Maybe we have such a strong angel energy and such a strong angel present here at the moment. But I would like to continue what you started to talk about, the angels and the animals. You mentioned already that they are special angels of the elements. So we call them, as you mentioned, the dwarfs, for example, and the gnomes. You say gnome or gnome? Yes, these are for the earth element, and the fairies and the divas for the they are for the I don't know the element, but they are especially for the animals. And then you have the mermaids, of course, and the undines. We call them undines. They are living in the lakes and in the ponds. And then we have the salamanders. These are not animals. These are the fire salamanders. If you watch a fire, a flame, you can see the I don't know how to call it, the flame, and it looks like an animal. And these are the salamanders. And it's not only the fire, it's also energy, it's also vibration. And if you're open up for nature beings, if you go out to the woods, if you go out to nature, to the mountains, and if you're silent and if you're open, you will see them, you can feel them, you feel their presence. And it's very important for us in these times to work together with them, to support them energetically as they support us energetically. Yeah, they are supporting also people, not only animals and plants. They are supporting also the crystals and the stones and the winds. We can explain physically how wind is starting, but we don't think about that they are the elements of the wind. Yeah, this is a special kind of angel working together with the clouds, working together with with nature. So it's fascinating that they are not only angels for persons, but also for animals and other beings on our planet. Is there anything you would like to add, or
In regards to the animals?
in general to our talk?
Maybe talking a little bit about the difference between guardian angels and archangels.
Mm-hmm.
So this is interesting, because the guardian angels are here to serve us only, and they're like our personal angels. And then the archangels are like watching over them, and they can be in more places at once. So while our guardian angels are with us at the moment, always, the archangels can be with many, many people at once.
Mm-hmm.
And they oversee the other angels. So the archangels are overseeing all of the other angels. And they help us in every area of our life. They protect us. They're bringing us peace on earth. And the guardian angels are there from birth until you go back to heaven. And they make sure that we're safe and protected. Although sometimes people will say, well, if my angels were there, why did this happen? But sometimes karma happens, some lessons have to happen, and the angels will not interfere in that situation when there's something around our growth, something that we have to go through that will develop our character, that will bring us to a new level, even though it might not be the best thing in the world at that moment. The guardian angels also, the quality is that they're very soothing and they're caring for us. Whereas the archangels, not so much. It's not that they don't care for us, but they're kind of more so when we call on them, then they will come.
Mm-hmm.
And the guardian angels are there always.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have more than one guardian angel. We have many around us. It depends on a number of things, which could be a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
But either way, you can call on the guardian angels for immediate assistance, for example. And they're really there for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
So every single person has a guardian angel, maybe a few, and every single person has access to the archangels and all of their gifts.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you mentioned the guardian angels are personal angels, and the archangels are transpersonal angels. So they are here for the whole cosmos. And as you mentioned, they are not for our personal belongings. They are not our angel bodyguards. The guardian angels are working together with the archangels. And for example, I am connected to Archangel Gabriel by my guardian angel, because the topic of Gabriel, what he represents, has to do with my life plan. So my learning steps and the things that I have to bring into the world is clarity, light, decision making, and to solve karmic stuff. I do this for myself, but I do this with clients. I do this when I write my books. I do this in sessions. So I'm a Scorpio. Yeah, Scorpio has to go very, very, very deep and to bring out all stuff and to clear this. And therefore, Gabriel is working together with my two guardian angels. In the meantime, there are more. We come, as I know, with two guardian angels into this life, and we leave with at least two, because they come from one life to another. These are always the same ones. These are the main guardian angels. And then if we connect, if we are open, if we need, there are more guardian angels, not only two. And if we ask a guardian angel for help, and the guardian angel cannot help us, he will send the request up to the archangels or to other angels, to the helpers angels, for example, the angels of love and self-love, the angels of karma solution, the angels of release, the angels of letting go. There, they help us angels, and they're all working together. But we people have a certain idea how it works, but we know that it's just a picture we have in our mind to understand these high vibrating beings. that we cannot really bring into our mind. So therefore we talk in pictures. We need pictures, inner pictures, or even words. I'm sure that the angels have not, for example, Gabriel is not his real name. He has a vibration. This is even more than light language. Yeah, so we call him Gabriel or Uriel or Raphael or Metatron or Camuel or Zadkiel or whatever, but this is our human voice and our human vibration, how we call the angels, because we couldn't speak it out how they really are called and their real name. And this is a gap, sometimes a gap between human thinking and angels, because they live and exist on a very, very high level. And sometimes it's hard for them to transform down to talk through us to other people. It takes them time to get down, because they have to bring down the energy, or a part of them has to bring down the energy to get into a person's body and to talk through a person, because their vibration is very high. So today we gave you some ideas, we gave you some impulses, we gave you some pictures, we gave you some inner pictures, we shared our experiences with you, and we are very happy that you're open up, otherwise you wouldn't have listened so long to us. And it's a pleasure to serve, it's a pleasure to work with and for the angels. And I would like to say thank you, Eluv. You do your angel job, your angelic job in so many different ways, also with music and meditation and coaching and so on. So yeah, it's good to be creative and to connect our creativity with the job, with our angelic job.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And I love what you said about speaking through you or speaking through us, because the word angel comes from angelos, which is a Greek word that means messenger.
Mm-hmm.
They are messages. So thank you so much for your work.
Thank you. Thank you for being with me.
Pleasure.